For my active learning assignment, I decided to listen to Undertaking the podcast. This actually has been on my list of things to start listening to, but then my life got crazy with school, so I didn't have a chance to do it. But this made me listen to it. I went back from the beginning, and the episode that I chose was episode number 5, and the guest was Logan McDonald. This was in October 24 of 2018. And pretty much this was a mortuary science student interviewing both Brian and Ryan about their experiences throughout getting their license and being licensed and being from family run funeral homes to working and doing what they love. So it looks like that Logan is currently, or was currently at the time, enrolled in Ivy Tech in their mortuary science program in Indianapolis, which is kind of funny because I was originally looking at it, let's say 10 years ago. I was looking at the Ivy Tech in, I believe it was Gary, was the only place that offered it, was mortuary science, or Indianapolis was my other option. I had no idea about Worsham whatsoever. So that kind of deterred me from it because I didn't really want to move to Indianapolis just to go to school. He was interviewing for Embalming 1, and I guess throughout his course they have to interview funeral directors throughout their entire course. So asking Brian and Ryan, Brian has been a funeral director at the time for 13 years. He graduated in 2005 from Vincennes University. And he was licensed in 2005, and graduated in 2003 from Vincennes University. Ryan was actually fresh out of school at the time, and he had only been practicing for 2 years and actually went through the Ivy Tech program, which they also said was a very tough program. But they did say that he felt prepared for the national board exams, and they focused a lot of their time on embalming and the practices and the technicalities for all of it. He did state that, you learn how to deal with families on the job, which is what I've learned after applying for school, prior to knowing if I was accepted or not. I had begun to talk to funeral homes in my area, asking if they had, the opportunity for me to come and shadow one day, or since I hold my cosmetology license, if they were looking for someone to do the hair and the makeup for the deceased. A lot of times I would get the, no, we're not really looking for anybody response, which was kind of disheartening, so I let it go. Once I got accepted into Worsham, I then looked into finding funeral homes in the area to do my practicums with. I had contacted one funeral home that my family has done almost all their funerals for my entire life. I contacted them. They weren't too receptive on it. They said they did have a bad experience with a prior intern student that they had working with them, but that they would keep me in mind. So I said, okay. So then I reached out to the current place that I work at, which would be Smith's Funeral Homes. There's a location in Dyer, Indiana. Then Smith's owns Stager Memorial Chapel, which was the actual original location that was bought by Glenn Smith's, and then South Holland as well. I had called, asked to speak with one of the directors, talked to the director, explaining that I was in school, I was doing my schooling online, and that I would need to find a funeral home in the area in order to do my practicums and not have to go to Wheeling to do them. He was very receptive. He just asked me, like, hey, send me over the information, like what you have to do, what you need, blah, blah, blah. This was actually almost a year ago because I had just I had just found out a couple days after meeting with him that I had COVID. So that was fun. But I sent them all the information. I did a couple interviews. They liked me. And then they also said that, hey, we have a girl that is leaving from the office. Like, would you be interested in a job? Took the job right away. Had no regard, no question, no hesitation. Was just like, all right, cool, let's go. I do like that they hired me. And then they also, Brian and Ryan, suggested that for any advice for a mortuary science student would be to find somewhere to get your foot in the door, find a position, try to shadow prior to enrolling and getting a student loan or education, you know, debt, to see if you're fit for it, because not everybody's fit for it. So what they did with me is day one, they had me hands-on with the body. I was helping get them dressed. I was helping with doing the hair. When they had autopsy cases or they had just general cases, there was one that was extremely jaundiced, and they would have me sit and watch and assist. And their theory was, we're gonna throw you into the water, see if you sink or swim. They'd rather have me into the field than, get in school, get all the money and all the time, and then turn out when time to get, touch a body, I can't do it. So I do thank them for that. What I also learned from the podcast was what Brian and Ryan felt was the most rewarding part of their job. And pretty much what I got from it was they take gratitude in the family showing gratitude. They take, those thank yous or those hugs or those random, presents or emails or cards. That makes them feel like they were able to help the family and they did a good job by the family. I've actually experienced that at work. I did have a lady who I worked with her a lot regarding her mom and like the cosmetics and just the situations in general, where she ended up writing a card to the funeral home, and I think she gave us like chocolates, but then she wrote a specific card just to me, thanking me for everything I did, that I was great to work with, stuff like that, and then actually gave me a gift as well. So I have experienced that, and I do agree with them. Like, you feel satisfied in your job by the families expressing how they were satisfied for it. They did say the advice for people interested in funeral service, which is a common theme that I've noticed I think I listened to a year's worth of their podcast, was networking. To always be trying to network and reach out to other funeral directors, other funeral homes, suppliers, constantly doing continuing education, whether it's, your hours required or just on a topic that you like and you would want to do. Me personally, I would like to find continuing educations and programs that are a little more towards restorative art, just because I'm a creative person. So I mean, we haven't gotten to the part where you mold and clay and make everything, but I was good at ceramics. I'm a very creative person. I am very detail oriented, and I like to make things look the way they're supposed to look. So I feel like that is going to be an area that I'm really going to be interested in and try to do. They also talked about the schedule, which is what I learned, like I said, just from being at work, that, you're on call 24/7. You can be out on your anniversary dinner and get a call that you got to go pick somebody up. You can be holidays and weekends and not feeling good, and you're going to get a call, and if there's no one else to do it, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to get up in the middle of the night, get completely dressed and ready and presentable in funeral attire. In my case, I would have to go to the funeral home, pick up the vehicle, and then go wherever the removal would be. They also said that, your family has to be understanding that this is the life you're getting into. This is what's demanding of it. So, to relax, taking time out for them is one of the biggest things they stress, is taking time out for your family and finding things that interest you And just little things like one said he likes scotch and cigars, so after work he has scotch and cigars. The other one said that he likes to go on vacation, but on this vacation is kind of like a working vacation because he'll visit different cemeteries or funeral homes or, places of historical interest that are tied to death care, and that he likes to go see the different monuments and the stones and all the history. One thing he mentioned in particular was going into foreign countries and looking at the cemeteries for American soldiers that had died during wars that never were able to make it back home. One of, let's see, where was I at? So Logan had his own personal question for them was, what did you do to prepare for the boards? They said, any board review class that is given, take it. They said, don't fall for the things online where they say, oh, you spend $50 and this is everything you need to know about the national boards. They said it's a joke. If your school offers a program, which we do, take it, pay attention, learn from it. A lot of the advice they gave, I knew some of it, but also it was preparing me for later in school and later in life. So I think this episode in particular was very good just because it is from a current student talking to directors and most recent graduates as well.